When will Selena ever get married? If you keep staying at home, you'll never find a boyfriend. My sister Melanie has always been competitive with me, never satisfied unless she was outperforming me in some way. Whether it was school grades or extracurricular activities, she constantly tried to outshine me, which could be quite annoying. Her competitive streak didn't fade as we grew older, and she took pride in having married before I did. Selena, you need to be more fashionable if you want to get married, she often jeered. I never paid much attention to our sibling rivalry and usually just brushed off her comments. But then, something happened that I couldn't ignore. My name is Selena, and I'm a 31-year-old freelance web designer. After high school, I spent years working in a factory primarily because I had no specific goals at the time. The job involved many night shifts and offered few days off, and I quickly realized it wasn't for me. One day, I stumbled upon the world of web design. Determined not to let my life pass by without trying something new, I quit my factory job and enrolled in a design school. Following several years working for a web design company, I transitioned into freelancing. This move allowed me to work whenever and wherever I wanted, leading to a much more fulfilling lifestyle. Recently, my annual income has nearly doubled compared to when I was employed. A significant part of my success is due to the unwavering support of my parents. To show my gratitude, I decided to gift them a new home. Our family house was aging, so I opted to buy a high-rise condominium. My parents were overjoyed and moved to tears, having never expected such a gesture. Now, we live together in the condominium, enjoying peaceful and happy days. When Melanie and her husband Mitch heard about our move, they decided to visit. It's amazing that Selena can live in such a condo. You used to work at a factory, Melanie remarked, her words laced with sarcasm. They lived in an apartment and seemed to feel a bit envious of my new living situation. You're a web designer, right? That job must pay well, Mitch chimed in. Well, it's been good recently, I replied. Maybe I should start too. If Selena can do it, it must be easy, Melanie said with a dismissive tone. Her casual disregard for the hard work I had put in angered me, but I knew arguing would be futile. Why not give it a try? You have time as a homemaker, right? I suggested. Are you mocking a homemaker, Selena? Housework is quite hard. You wouldn't understand, being taken care of by mommy, she retorted. Her response stung, but I kept my composure, knowing it wasn't worth escalating the situation. I help mom too, and I understand the challenges of housework, I said, but Melanie continued with her sarcastic tone, clearly upset about my living situation. Perhaps it was the alcohol, but her snide remarks kept coming, and eventually our father had enough. Melanie, haven't you been a bit harsh? Selena has worked hard to get where she is now, he scolded. Daddy, it's fine. I'm okay, I interjected, trying to prevent a rare family dinner from turning into a full-blown argument, especially with Mitch present. Darling, Melanie, you both have had a bit too much to drink. Maybe it's time to call it a night, Mom suggested tactfully. Thanks to Mom's intervention, we managed to avoid a fight, though Dad remained visibly upset even after Melanie and her husband left. I can't believe she spoke like that without understanding Selena's struggles. Daddy, it's okay. I'm not bothered, I reassured him, and only then did he finally relax. A few months later, Mitch's company suddenly went bankrupt and Melanie asked if they could stay with us for a while. Since we had some spare rooms and I figured it would be temporary until Mitch found another job, I agreed to let them stay. I'm sorry, Selena, for barging in like this, Melanie said. No, it's totally fine. Mitch has a college degree, so he should find another job soon. Please bear with us until then, I replied. Understood. Despite her previous snide remarks, I was a bit surprised that she turned to me for help in their time of need. However, they assured me it would be temporary, so I reluctantly agreed. As time went on, they never left and gradually began to make themselves at home. My parents grew increasingly concerned about Mitch's job situation. It's been 3 months since they said he would find something soon. Mitch still hasn't found a job, I noted. When I asked Melanie about it, she seemed completely unconcerned. Unlike Selena, Mitch has a college degree, so he'll find a job soon, Melanie said dismissively, refusing to take me seriously. When our parents weren't around, her snide remarks increased. Why don't you worry about yourself instead of Mitch? She sneered. What do you mean by that? I asked. You're in your early 30s, right? Can you even get married? Unlike me, you're not that pretty. Maybe no one will marry you now, she taunted. Melanie's words stung, but I knew reacting would only gratify her. I don't need you to worry about me. Maybe you should be the one worrying, Selena. Mitch will be fine, so relax. Yeah. I bit back my anger, knowing that arguing would only make her feel victorious. Lately, even Mitch joined in with the snide remarks, possibly out of frustration from his prolonged job search. You only graduated from high school, right, Selena? He quipped. Their words hurt, but I resolved to stay composed, understanding that their frustration was more about their own situation than mine. Yeah, so what? I replied, trying to maintain my composure. It takes courage to be independent with just a high school diploma, Melanie retorted, her tone dripping with condescension. Why? What will you do if you can't earn money? It seems hard to find a job again with just a high school education, really, Mitch chimed in, his tone mocking. Yes, I think it's just temporary for you, Selena. Well, I have a college degree, so finding a new job will be easy for me, Melanie added. Despite Mitch's ongoing job search, I felt a surge of anger at his attempts to belittle me based on education. While education is valuable, I believe it's not the sole determinant of success. I once struggled with the idea that being independent without a college degree would be challenging, but I've since learned that determination and effort matter more than credentials. Yet Mitch's relentless mockery of my high school diploma stung deeply, and the snide remarks showed no signs of abating. To make matters worse, Melanie completely stopped pitching in with the housework, leaving everything to Mom and me. She would either idle away in her room or spend her days shopping. Meanwhile, Mitch appeared to have lost all motivation to seek employment. Instead, he lounged around the house, living a leisurely life. In the presence of our parents, he even had the audacity to complain to Melanie about the food, remarking, "Wasn't today's meal a bit bland?" I was determined not to let them continue leeching off us and potentially burdening us in the future. Melanie, how long do you intend to stay? If Mitch is struggling to find work, why don't you consider finding a job too? I confronted them firmly, unable to contain my frustration any longer. Melanie responded casually, not bothering to meet my gaze. It's fine. He'll find something soon. Her dismissive attitude only fueled my anger. It's been almost half a year since you said soon. Mitch, are you making any progress in your job search? I might receive an offer from a big company. I expect the salary will surpass Selena's, Mitch claimed confidently. Is that so? Mitch's blatant lie only added to my growing irritation. More importantly, Selena might not be able to earn money in the future, right? Melanie abruptly changed the subject. Hey, don't avoid the question, I pressed. If that happens, we'll have to sell this house, right? You shouldn't have bought such a place, Melanie continued, her tone accusatory. What are you implying? I asked, feeling defensive. So, why not give this house to us? Mitch has a college degree, so his income should be stable. If you leave it to us, you won't have to sell the house, Melanie proposed. I couldn't decipher if they were serious or not, but their words seemed absurd. Wait, do you realize what you're suggesting? Mitch hasn't even secured a job yet, I pointed out. He's bound to land a better one soon, so it'll all work out. Plus, this could be a great chance for you, Selena. You should embrace living independently, Melanie urged. What? I exclaimed, taken aback by her audacity. You don't need to rely on anyone, always being under Mom and Dad's roof. Let them go and stay with us, she continued, ignoring my protests. Enough. This is my home, you both know that, I asserted firmly. It appeared that the two were scheming to push me out and seize control of the condominium. Their constant snide remarks and refusal to pitch in with the housework only confirmed my suspicions. Despite their assurances that they would stay only until finding work, their attempt to take over my home was unforgivable. I had shown leniency due to their predicament, but I couldn't tolerate their behavior any longer. I resolved to evict my sister and her husband from the premises. When I confided in my parents, they revealed that they had been discussing the same issue for some time but refrained from intervening, respecting it as my decision. That evening, we gathered Melanie and Mitch for a family meeting. What's happening? What's all this about? Melanie questioned, puzzled by the sudden seriousness. We've concluded that it's time for both of you to vacate this house, I declared. What? Selena, why are you springing this on us out of nowhere? Mitch interjected. I've reached my breaking point, and so have Mom and Dad, I replied firmly. Limits? What do you mean? This is so unexpected, Melanie exclaimed, clearly caught off guard by our decision. We understand it's not easy to pack up and leave immediately, so we're giving you a month. You have 1 month from today to find a new place, I explained. That's still quite sudden, Melanie protested, her voice tinged with panic. Turning to Mitch, I inquired, have you managed to secure a job yet? Mitch's demeanor shifted as he avoided eye contact and mumbled softly. Not yet, but it'll come soon, he replied, lacking conviction. It's been 6 months already, hasn't it? Despite allowing you both to stay, Melanie hasn't lifted a finger to help with the housework. And recently, both of you have been making snide remarks towards me, isn't that right? I confronted them. Remarks. Daddy's reaction was immediate. I hadn't mentioned anything about the snide remarks before, so I could tell my parents were taken aback. Have you two been making snide remarks to Selena? Daddy's voice was firm, and Mitch appeared visibly uncomfortable, beads of sweat forming on his brow. Daddy, it's not like that. It's not snide remarks. It's just friendly advice, Melanie interjected hastily. What kind of advice have you been giving Selena? Daddy's tone grew more serious. He seldom showed anger, usually maintaining his gentle demeanor, but when he did, it was intimidating. It's more like, Melanie's voice faltered, seemingly intimidated by Daddy's pressure. Sensing her hesitation, I stepped in to clarify on her behalf. They suggested that because I only have a high school diploma, my future prospects are uncertain, and that living alone might increase my chances of getting married. Isn't that right? I relayed to Daddy. What? They said that. Daddy's anger flared instantly. That's enough of this nonsense. Uncertain because of a high school diploma. Better to live alone? Do you even have the authority to make such statements? Daddy's tone was stern, and Melanie remained silent, avoiding eye contact. Let me make this clear. You have a college degree, so why are you struggling to find employment? And if Mitch is having difficulty, why isn't Melanie contributing to the household income? After all, she also holds a college degree. Daddy continued, his words leaving Melanie and Mitch speechless. Selena, 1 month is far too lenient. They need to leave immediately. Both of you, start packing your things, Daddy ordered firmly. What? That's impossible. We have nowhere to go, Melanie pleaded with Daddy, her voice almost breaking with tears. I don't care. When I say leave, you leave, Daddy reiterated sternly. Mommy, please talk to Daddy, Melanie implored, turning to Mom for support. I feel the same way as your father, Mom responded, surprising everyone with her agreement. Normally, Mom would side with them when Daddy got angry, but not this time. No way, Daddy insisted firmly. Daddy's right. 1 month is too generous. Can you leave right now? Selena spoke up, her voice firm as she stood by Daddy's decision. Mitch, supporting a crumbling Melanie, nodded in agreement. Reluctantly, they gathered their belongings and uttered a final, I'm sorry, before leaving. To be frank, Melanie and Mitch had been a significant source of stress, hindering my ability to work effectively for the past few months. Thanks to my father's intervention, we were finally able to persuade Melanie and Mitch to leave, and I felt a sense of relief wash over me. A month later, Melanie unexpectedly showed up at our doorstep. What do you want? I asked, my tone guarded. Actually, Mitch and I got divorced, Melanie revealed. She went on to explain that after being ejected from our house, they had to seek refuge at Mitch's parents' home. However, Mitch's parents were evidently very strict, and they were outraged upon learning of the situation. Despite their displeasure, Melanie and Mitch had no alternative and had to plead to stay with them, albeit reluctantly granted permission. After that incident, Mitch began diligently searching for jobs every day, while Melanie took on more responsibility with the household chores. However, as weeks passed, Mitch still couldn't secure a job. Despite his college degree, he lacked significant qualifications and had no notable achievements from his previous employment, merely following instructions without making any significant contributions. Although numerous job opportunities were available if he were less selective, Mitch's pride prevented him from considering them. He insisted on finding a position similar to or better than his previous one. Finally recognizing the futility of Mitch's approach, Melanie broached the topic of divorce. I never realized how prideful he was. It's not that he can't find a job. He's simply being picky. Isn't that absurd? Melanie remarked, expressing her frustration. While Mitch's refusal to compromise his pride was undoubtedly problematic, Melanie, who had persistently demanded a higher income from Mitch than me, was also to blame. If Mitch had accepted a lower paying job, one could only wonder how Melanie would have reacted. So, I've decided to move back in with everyone from now on. I appreciate your understanding in advance, Melanie announced. That's not going to happen, I responded firmly. What? Melanie exclaimed, clearly taken aback by my refusal. I've already made it clear that we can't have you living with us anymore, Melanie. Daddy and Mommy agree, I reiterated firmly. But I'm divorced now. It's not the same as before, Melanie protested. That's not the point. Your personality is the problem here. Do not return here and do not reach out to us if you find yourself in trouble, I responded sternly. But what am I supposed to do? I'm not employed, Melanie pleaded. You have a college degree, don't you? You should be capable of earning more than me, a high school graduate. So there shouldn't be any issue, I retorted coldly. With that, I escorted Melanie out of the house. She cried and begged for forgiveness, promising to change her ways and help out more, but I remained resolute. I pushed her out the front door, and eventually, she relented and returned home, defeated. Later on, I learned that Melanie had found a job at a supermarket and was living independently. It appeared that she had come to terms with the fact that she couldn't surpass me and had opted for a simpler life. Meanwhile, Mitch, still clinging to his pride and unable to secure employment, was eventually ousted from his parents' residence. His whereabouts and current situation remained unknown. As for myself, I recently tied the knot. I met my partner through work, and after several years of dating, we decided to take the plunge. We had been contemplating marriage for a while, and I had already introduced him to my parents. The only person unaware of our union was Melanie. Now, I am happily married, living with my husband and parents in our home.